Good day, guys. Without much talk, let's start. So let us install Laravel. We are going to install Laravel 10. That is the version we are going to use. So copy this command and open your terminal and paste it on Composer, create Laravel project. So Laravel React Native is the name of the project. So, and that will be the name of our folder. Okay. After installing Laravel, we open it in VS Code. We need to set the database first. So I'll give the name of the database. I'll call it Laravel React Native. Laravel. Okay, so I'm starting the server now. That is my SQL server. I'm using XAMPP. Okay, so PHP Artisan Migrate. This new Laravel version, if you enter PHP Artisan Migrate, it will ask you that you have not created the database. So this automatically create the database for me. So I don't need to create the database myself. I just enter the command PHP migrate Artisan Migrate. So now I want to use UI for the basic scaffolding or the scaffolding. So that is why I'm using the Laravel UI. So I want to use the Bootstrap. That is what I like to use. I'm just trying to create a basic authentication for this. Will add the user model and some simple basic authentication. Okay, now everything is set up. So npm install is just a basic setting, so this is not part of our this thing. I'm just trying to tell you that we are starting from scratch. So right now we need to start this the Laravel server now, so that we can visit it on our web browser. So here is our page. We have the login button at the top and the registration button at the top. That is the work of that Laravel UI package that I installed. So right now I can register a new user. I'll call it sharp name. That is the name. I'll give it email and password 123456778. So I register, and this is just a basic authentication. You can see you have the dashboard, you have the login. It's not what we are here for. So let's check the folders. You can see the package that we install added controller for the authentication. You have the login controller. So we are going to use this later to create our own API login, so that we can serve it through to React Native. That is our app, the React Native as the front and the Laravel as the backend. So now I want to install Laravel Sanctum. So this Laravel Sanctum, this is what the package that handle the authentication by generating the API token. Can use it to create a single page app. So now let's install it. Composer require Laravel Sanctum. The new version of Laravel automatically install Laravel Sanctum if you are creating the project. So you don't need to even install it. And you can see it is already installed. So now let's go to the API authentication section. That is what we are going to use. So we need to add this has API token to the model that we are going to use, and the model we are going to use is the user model. So we are going to add that hash had as a API token. You can see it has already been added to this model. You can see it here. Okay, so and all this. So now you can see we have only one route in our API route. So let me open a Postman first. You can see if I navigate to that route, it's going to tell me that I'm not authenticated. So API user, okay, this is the route. API user. So okay, it's giving me this error because I'm not telling it that I'm sending a JSON this format. So I'm going to add accept JSON to the header. Application JSON. Okay, so you are using Postman. You can see that the message that it returns is unauthenticated. So I'm using Postman to test it before I move it to React Native. So let's bring this down. First, we need to create our own controller. I would like to put my controller for API in its own separate folder, and I will call it API. So that is where all the controller for my API will be. Then the authentication controllers, I will add it to a folder called auth inside the API. That is how I normally do it, to make it clear so that I can reference it anytime. So I would like to add the first, and we are going to start with login because that is the easiest one, so that if you understand the login part, the registration will be easy to do. So I'm making a controller now. PHP artisan make controller. I'll put the controller in API auth folder. I will call it API login controller, so that I can, we are going to have different controller. We have the login controller, the normal one for the user. So this one, I want this one to be API login controller, so that I will understand. I don't need to comment. I don't need to use comment. By seeing the name alone, I will understand. So here is the API login controller. So I'll create a method. I call it login, and this login, inside this login, I want to return a response, a JSON response JSON. I'm going to return status. So I will return a status. I will call it a success. You can see I returned only one data status, which is success. So I need to add it to the route so that I can test it and see if we are already in. So route post. I'll add the URL. I'll call it login. Then I will add the controller, the API login controller. Okay, this will automatically add this at the top. Import the controller at the top. You can see it at the top. I'm using an extension on VS extension that helped me do that. So you can see we are calling the login method from the API controller. So if I enter login now, Oh, sorry, it post. Let me send empty object to it. You can see the status. That's what I wrote in the API login controller. There is I return a status which I call success. So right now, the first thing we are going to do, we are going to accept a request. I'll put it in the request variable. So first thing we need to do now is we need to validate the request. So you have to validate the request. Then the second things we need to do is we need to check if the details match any of the data in the database. So if the detail did not match, we return a response, error response. If the detail match, we are going to return the data and the bearer token. This is the token that we are going to use in React Native app. So our validation rules, I'm creating the validation rules. The email require email. No, let me put string just to, you can put email, but string just put email, that will be better. The password require string. So this is my validation rule. Okay, so I need to create the validation. I'm going to use validator from the Laravel facade. You can see it if you check the validator there. So I want to make, I'll put the data, which is all the data that we are going to receive from the front end. Then I'll put the validation rules. So I want to check if there's error, if validation rule fails. I want to return the response, JSON response. I want to return all the error message, so we can get it. You can I'll give a message now. So I'll put validation errors. I'll get all error. Okay, now you can see that it returned all the error in this message array. The email field is required, the password field is required. Okay, that is the work of the validation. This is a simple validation. So you can add more validation if you have rules, like if you want to validate the username, if you want to log in with the user. So I'm creating the credential now. So this credential, what I need is email. For instance, if I want to use password, I can request the password. Username. I can request username. So the credential will be email and password. So I want to check if I want to attempt to use this credential. If it fail, I want it to return a response that said the message will be incorrect login details. You can see this is very simple. That's why I'm trying to separate it by going to the next line. So let's test it. I'll put the email is correct, but I'll make the password not to be correct. So if I send this now, what is that? Oh, request. I like to type $. Okay, sorry. So just remove the $. That is it. So let's test it now. You can see fail, incorrect login details. That is the response that we returned just now. Let's go back and let's add the correct login details. you can see it go down, it passes it and it go down. So we are going to create our user now, then we create a token and return it. Okay, so user request user. Okay, so I want to I can call it bearer token. This is just variable bearer token. Then I'll create the token. This we are using this from the Sanctum Laravel Sanctum. Okay, I get this from the Laravel Sanctum. Okay, the name of the token is auth token. So I want to plain text. So if you are worrying about how did I get this, when you go to the Laravel Sanctum section, the authentication token section, you will find it there. You can see it here. Okay, so this will create a token. So that token, anytime you want to make a request from your Laravel front end, you need to add that token as a bearer token to the header. This will automatically identify the user that is making the request. So we are going to return the user data. This might be the user data that carry the balance or whatever, the name, the profile, the email. Then we are going to return the token. Okay, so we have status user token. Okay, we can add message to it too. So if I send the request now, you can see now it return the token and the user. You can see the user details. You have the name or whatever. Okay, so those hiding properties didn't show. All right, so now we have a very simple and useful login function on Laravel. So let's go to React Native. I'm using Expo. I just have a simple login screen here. This login screen, I have only two inputs and a button. This button, I attach a function to it. It's called handle login. So you can see I have only two inputs: the email, just simple input, and the button, which called the handle login function or method. Okay, so right now I want to install the ASIO. I'm going to use ASIO to send requests from my from my React Native to Laravel. So the ASIO is very easy. Is a nice package that make it very simple to send request. Paste npm install. Now I'm already on React Native. You can see this. I'm using Expo. Okay, so I'm starting the server now, the React Native server. So the bundler. So let me reload this. Okay, right now let us import the ASIOs. Okay, so I want to check if the email is empty, is null, or the password is null. Let us just log empty log. We call it empty details. Then return. I don't want it to go down. That's why I use the return. It's a nice way of returning. So, but if it's not empty, let it go down, authenticate, send request to the server. Okay, so I add async because I want to use async await for the SEO post. Okay, so I want it to wait, let it finish before the other things runs. So I want to use the link here now, and then to use this link now. This is our local host link. So for you to connect it to from React Native to Laravel, you can use the Android link. Okay, so if you want to do it locally without using ngrok, okay, so you just put this, you replace this your local host 127 with 10.0.2.2. You can see it. So this will automatically send the request to the localhost server. Just put your address. That's what I'm trying to say. Your website address. So I'm posting email and password to the server. So I want the response. I want to log the response. That is, I call the response rest. The data. You know, if you are using Azure, the response you get, you need to add this the data to get all the data. If you don't add it, you are not going to get it. So now I do the caching by, if I get error, I log the error. Okay, so let us try this. This is an empty details. Okay, let me add error, invalid details. You can see message incorrect login details. You can see the status failed. So let me enter. Okay, I want to add this details to the top here so that I can see it from the top. I'll just add a message, a message state, so I can set the state. So I will add it here, a test. Test, I'll call it message. I have not created it, so I'll call it message. So I will create it here now. Const message dot set message. I'm going to use state. I'll put a empty string. Not, yeah. Okay, so I will use it. If I set it now, it will show here. This is just a basic simple setting. Set message. I'm going to get the message from the respond message because I add the message to the value that I'm returning. Okay, so you can see incorrect login details. That is where I put it here. Okay, so I want to install navigation so that if user login successfully, we navigate to another screen. So React Native navigation, I think, is a simple package that you can use to navigate to another screen. Okay, so I'm installing the React Native navigation now so that I will navigate to another screen if the user log in successfully. That's why I'm installing React Native navigation now. So I will install. If you are using Expo, like I'm using Expo now, you need to install this package. Yeah, this nps Expo install React Native screen and React Native save area context. Yeah. So after I'm installing it, I need to create a folder. I will call it source src. That's where I'm going to keep everything that I'm creating, okay, to make the code clean. So I'm also going to create a folder. I will call it navigation. I'll create another folder. I'll call it a screen. That's where I'm going to keep my screen. I'm going to create a login screen and a profile screen. So this navigation, I'm going to create a navigation handler. This way I'm going to define my navigation handler. So that is where I'm going to put all the screen. Okay. So I need to create the screen now before I. Okay, let me arrange this navigation first. I will import the navigation container first. You can read the documentation online from the React Native navigation. Then I will import this React Native navigation stack. Oh, I've not installed this. I need to install it. The React Native navigation stack. Stack. That's what I'm going to use. I need to install it again. Yeah, is it npm install React Native stack navigation native stack? So I need to install it. Okay, so I'm installing it now. So I've installed it successfully. So I'll start the app now, the bundle now. Okay, so let me create a simple no. Delete. No need. We don't need that. Okay, let's create a stack. The stack. So we are going to use the equals to. We are setting the create navigation stack. Yeah. Okay. So we have created a stack now. So we are going to use the stack to create a navigation container. We are going to put it inside the navigation container. Stack dot navigator. This is simple. The normal setting for. You can see it here in the documentation. Okay, so I don't have any screen now. I need to add a screen. I'll call it profile screen inside the screen folder. Then I will just add simple. I'm using this extension to automatically write all these things. Okay, the basic. So I'm creating a new screen. I'll call it login screen. So that I will move all those the first screen to it. That our first setting. Okay. Okay, now let's add. We are going to remove. Okay, let's import our screen now. So you do it like this. Stack the screen. You can check it from the documentation. Stack the screen. You put the name of your screen, how you want to call it. Then you call the component. The component should be profile screen that I created. You can see it automatically imported at the top here. Profile screen. If yours didn't import it automatically, you need to do it manually to import it from the directory or folder. There is it. So I need to import the login screen too. So the login screen will be at the top. It's going to, if you didn't add the initial this thing screen for it, it's going to start from the top. Okay, because right now we need to clear all this from the app.js file, because that is the entry for our app. And what we need to do here now is just add our navigation container, and we call it navigation handler the other time. So I'll move everything from the app to the login screen, because that is the login screen that time I created. So now here is the app file, the app.js file. I'm going to import this navigation handler that I created the other time. You can see it here, so I'll import it here now. So here's the component. You don't need anything here again. Okay, so now if you run our app now, you see we have the profile screen, and we also have the login screen. Okay, here's the profile screen. If I comment out this profile screen now, you can see it go to the login screen. You can see this navigation container has option. Just try to read the documentation. You can add option to it. Okay, if you want to remove the top, but I don't want to do that right now. We just need, let's go straight to what we are here for. Okay, so here now I want to give that status. The status I have failed in Laravel. I create in Laravel. You can see I create a fail and success. So I want to change it to true or false. You can leave it like this, but I want to change it. If it fail, I'll put false, and false return the status. Or if it didn't fail, success, I'll put true. So I want to use that to check to condition the login handler. If rest data, I don't like to type the dot. I'll create a variable here now and assign the data to it, the response data to it. I'll call it rest data. The JavaScript of now doesn't even require much this thing. I didn't even declare that let. I didn't use let or var or const, but it works. So that is the JavaScript for you. I will now check the status. If the status is true, that is the response. The response I'm receiving. If the status is true, I'll navigate to the profile page. Else, I will return the message. Okay. I want to add this navigation to the login component so that I can access it here. Like navigation.navigate. We are getting this from the, how do you call it, the React Native navigation. Okay, you check the documentation. So we will navigate to profile screen. This is a sample. This is just a sample, so that once we log in, it automatically go to the profile screen. But at the end, we are not going to navigate like this. I want to show you how it moves. So if the login is correct, you can see the login is wrong, it's false. So if it's correct, it go to the profile screen. Let me correct it. put correct login. So our login and navigation is working now. So now we want this to handle. We don't want to use the navigation or whatever to handle this. We want to use the data, our navigator, the navigation handler, to handle all this. Like if the user is automatic login, let it move the user to the profile screen. Okay, so and also so that we are going to create we are going to use contest. That's why I create a contest folder. This contest that I'm going to create, that is what is going to hold data. Like if you use the contest to create add a state, you can access the state from all the screen. So let's say for instance now I want to access the username from another screen. So I need to use the contest that I'm going to create now. We are going to create contest. Use create contest here. You can see I'm using the create contest from React. Okay. So the contest is just if you like to access, to help us give us state that we can access from any screen that is under the contest provider. So once we create this contest now, we're going to create a provider too. So inside this folder, this file now, we are exporting two type of component. We are exporting the auth CTS contest and the auth provider. So inside this auth provider now, we are going to return provider. Okay. Auth.provider. Auth CTS. This is the contest that I create. So anywhere, if we wrap our app inside this provider now, we can access all the data, any data that we define here. So we are going to add children there so that we can put it. You can see that the provider, I give it a value. That is the value. So any value that I want to access it in another screen, I need to put it here inside the value so that I can access it on another screen. Okay. So let me create a state. I'll call it auth data. This auth data now, this state now, I can access it any of this inside any of the screen that I call it, I import it. Okay. And also this function set auth data, I can access it if I import it in any of the screen. So that is the work of this contest. Use state, I'll put it null. If you don't understand this, just follow this. I will put the code on my GitHub. You can get it from there. Okay, so I'm returning these two data now at the top here. I'm returning it. Okay, I'm returning these two data, auth data and set auth data. That is the function. Okay, so if I want to access any data that I set there now, I just import it. So here now we need to wrap our app with the auth provider. That is the contest that we created here. So we are importing this from the contest, that auth CTS that we created, the file that we created the other time. So we are wrapping it. We are putting the navigation inside so that we can access any data from it. Okay. So right now we have wrapped it. So if I want to access the state from anywhere or set it, I need to import it. Okay. So any state in this context now, I can set it from anywhere and I can use it anywhere. So let's go. So I want to, just like the way this one here now, so I want to get the state from the context. So the structure it here and get it. Okay, the auth data. Let me copy it. Okay, just write the name exactly. Then where are we getting it from? We are getting it from we are going to use context. You can see that the use context has been added to the top, have been imported. Then where is the content? We are going to get it from the auth context. That is the file that we created here. Okay, now we can access this data and set it. Then we can access it from another screen. So here now I want to set the data here. So I'm going to use that function that I import now from the context, set data, and I'll put the rest data. That is the response that I get from the server. I'll put all, so that I can access it in another screen. So I need to remove this navigation. Don't need it here. Don't need it. Okay. So I've set the data now. Let's go to navigation now. So inside this navigation, we need to get the data, the context, so that we can use it to condition the screen. We can present to the user the screen, the auth screen if the user is logout, and the profile if the user is logging. So I'm getting this data now from the context because we have already set it from the login screen. If we set it from the login screen, we'll get it here, and if we do not set it, we'll still get it here, so that we'll know the value. That's why we are using context. That's the work of the context. So I want to use that data now to condition this screen. If the token is available, if the data is available, or if the token is available, I'm going to return the user to the profile. But if it is not available, I will return the user to the login screen. So I'm doing that from the navigator, the navigation handler. So I want to check this data. If this data get token as token, data token, okay, that is a token from the Laravel. Okay, let's go back to React Native. To avoid error, I need to add this condition here to check if token is available. That is, if the token variable is there. So I have to check if the token is null. I will turn the login. So I'll put the login. So if I have registration page now, I'll put everything there. I'll put the registration page. I'll put the login page there. But if the token is available now, here I'll put the profile. So I can put the profile here. I can put the remaining page that require login. I'll put it here under there. No, so now everything is set. Let's test it. Okay, so everything is set now. If we log in, it takes us to profile, and if we log out, it takes us to login, because we still, let's log in first. Incorrect login, so I'll put the right login. Okay guys, please, you can help by subscribing to this channel. This just starting, and I want to give out my knowledge free here. So this is my first video, and the coming one will be perfect. So I'm adding a logout button, just a normal button. I'm using touchable opacity, and I'll create a logout handler, the function. So I'll create it here now. So once user click this logout, we are going to set that data. We are going to set it to null. And remember, if we set it to null, this will allow the navigation to take us back to the login screen. So I'm using a arrow function. So let us get the data, all data. Let us get it from the context. Remember, I told you we can get this data from any screen that is under that provider, any screen. So I want to set this data now to null. Immediately I set it to null, it will take you to the login screen. You can see it now. It takes me to the login screen. So let me log in now. Take me to the profile screen. Now this auth data now has the token. Like if we want to send any request to the Laravel server now, we want to send it to our backend, the Laravel backend, we need to add the token. Okay, so we need to add the token. Please, you need to watch the second part. My system can handle video that is more than 40 or 50 minutes, so we watch the second part. That part we are going to learn how to send the response request from our React Native to the backend, Laravel backend, to do something, and it will identify that this is the user. You are going to use the token. You will put the token at the top, at the header, bearer token. You just add it. So that will be in the second part. I don't want that one to be long. I just want it to be short. So I will already create it down the page. So if we log in now, I just add some this thing to show the details. Okay.